Okay, welcome back to part 2. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are back. So we're going to wrap this up. So we were talking about how, some people might be like, why now? Why all of a sudden is this person reaching out to me? But I think something important that you talked about was you told me, make sure he knows I've been looking for however many years it was, 26?
At least.
At least 26 years. So you were waiting for the phone call that weekend, and he called.
Oh my gosh, my family gathered
Okay.
in the living room and we put it on speaker.
Uh-huh.
We were so excited.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh my gosh, is this really happening?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it after all of these years that I knew that I had, of course, a mother and a father.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know I had a brother.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a bonus. I was so excited.
But at this point, still in April, you didn't know for sure.
Right.
But you figured somehow you guys were related.
Mm-hmm. But when I seen him, a picture of him, I knew it was my brother.
Okay. So then in July, you guys happened to be in Indiana.
Right.
And what happened then?
We met up with you and Danny at Applebee's in Lafayette.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we walk in, we're trying to figure out, how are we looking for each other? How do we know? And so it was intense. It was scary. Exciting, but scary at the same time.
Yes.
I was just like, oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I'm going to react. But my husband said, don't hug him. You're a huggy person. And I said, this is going to be difficult to not hug him. Right. So I let him make the first move and he hugged me and I go, he hugged me first. And I was just like, but I wanted to hug him.
Because had you guys had more than one conversation up until this point?
I think we did.
You had a couple conversations.
Yeah. We started getting to know each other more on the phone and I had a lot of questions for him.
Sure.
Just trying to connect everything and trying to see before he knew for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So then the next step, you guys agreed that you were going to do some testing, right? Some DNA testing.
Correct.
So that happened, and that was a really long waiting period.
Right.
To get those results back.
Right.
And then what happened with that?
I was heartbroken because the numbers, the percentage was so low that I was just like, how can this be? I know he's my brother and she's my mom. I felt it in my heart. So I was devastated. And I called Danny and I didn't even want to say anything to him. I just said, I don't even know how to tell you this. Our percentage is so low that they're saying you could be, but maybe not my brother. And I was heartbroken.
You were heartbroken. But then you persevered because there was something, I think, very significant that happened in the state of Indiana, July 1.
Correct.
And what was that?
They passed a law that adoptees can have their birth records opened. And as long as there's nothing stating that no matter what, they're not to be unsealed, you can have your information given to you.
Okay.
And sent to you.
So you started that process early.
Correct.
Like in June, right?
Right.
Okay. So you met, you felt like he is definitely my brother. I mean, you guys, they look alike. And you had the DNA testing.
Right.
And it came back really low.
Right.
So I think something that would be very important for viewers to understand is just because those numbers come back low, like, yes, it's heartbreaking, but persevere and keep moving forward on your journey. You're going to have obstacles. Things are going to happen. Just keep pushing forward and see what happens and check your state laws to see if they have the ability to get into those adoption records, because that sealed the deal, right?
That's right. I couldn't open my paperwork fast enough.
She had been waiting and waiting and waiting. And when did you finally get?
December 15th, 2000.
So the law changed July 1st. She sent her paperwork in June. And finally, on December 15th, you got the paperwork stating
Alice is my mom, which I knew all along.
Which meant Danny was her brother.
Right.
So what I think made that very special, because Louisa lives in Wisconsin and we're in Indiana. And so then they came for Christmas that year and it was amazing. Like, I don't think there was any on my end. It was just, wow, I have a sister-in-law and now I have like two nephews and a niece-in-law and a niece and like all these people we welcomed into our house, and I don't think there was one awkward moment. Like, we were very excited and very welcoming, and my husband, being an only child for 44 years of his life, was surprisingly, I couldn't believe he was letting these people come into his house. But I mean, when you know,
That's right.
and it's family.
Mm-hmm.
I think, though, it's very important at this time to state that unfortunately, not every story ends up like this. Unfortunately, people don't want to know. They don't want to have anything to do with you, and I think that's too bad. However, this was a happy ending.
It was.
And what resources would you say would be most helpful, and kind of like some tips that you would give people, and what's important?
I think, like you said, check your state laws, because just because you think that you won't be able to get your records, or the ancestry was the biggest one for me. That's what led me really before the state law, before I even got that paperwork. So check that. There are people that know how to research. The guy that called me off of Ancestry, he does that. He loves that stuff. People can do that with very little information. They know how to do it. So ask around, find out who can help you without having to hire somebody and spend lots of money to do it. You know, so, but definitely don't stop looking.
Don't stop looking.
I'm 50 years old. Don't stop looking.
And how has your life changed in the last year?
It's been amazing that I have a brother. I look up to him and I'm like, you're so tall. But I always told him, I said, I know you're my brother, before I knew he was my brother. And I said, I won't tell you that again until I know for sure. So when I got my paperwork, I said, you're my brother. And that's a fact. So it's amazing. But you just have a bigger family. You don't forget your adopted family. You just have a bigger family.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, too, it is very important. You had such a supportive family.
Right.
Everyone was helping you. You know, you guys can't see right now, but in this room right now is her youngest daughter that I think has just been kind of a cheerleader and encourager, a supporter. Right. But then your adoptive family was helping you and being very supportive.
Amazing. My mom, she went to court with me. We went before the judge and tried to get my records unsealed. And I mean, it didn't work. But the thing is if I didn't have her support, my niece Kelly, my niece Carrie, Vicky, all of my family members that supported me, I think it would have been a harder road. Because you want that support and you want to know that people don't have a problem with you finding. Like I said, you're not trying to replace people. You're just making it bigger.
Yeah, you're just multiplying and adding into your family.
That's right.
And adding
so now I have a brother and a sister-in-law and another nephew too. I love it. That's what my family was about.
Right.
Big families, and so now I got more.
Right. So don't stop. It's never too late to start looking. Use your resources. Tell your family and friends that you're doing this, because they may surprise you and be very supportive and even be like, hey, let me help. Like, what can we do? Talk to other people, because you never know who's going to say, yeah, me too. And this is what I did to look for my family. You never know who is out there. So tonight, thank you so much, Louisa, for sharing your story. I think, I hope that it helps somebody out there. I hope that you enjoyed the story. We have definitely enjoyed having Louisa and all of her family join us. Tonight was a little different. Usually, I'm re-live Queen of Questions, and I told you in my pilot episode that live to me meant unedited. So tonight is pre-recorded, because we were very lucky and fortunate to have Louisa and her family come visit for a weekend in August, and this is going to air a little bit later, or is airing a little bit later. If you have any questions or comments, you can comment on the YouTube video, and we will definitely be looking into that to touch base with you. If you have a story that you want to share, feel free to get in touch with me through the YouTube video. You can comment there and say, hey, yeah, me too. And we'd be happy to hear from you guys. So is there any last things that you want to add?
Well, I do want to say thank you, because you were very supportive. And if it hadn't been for you too, and just kind of like pushing Danny a little bit, I mean, there's a lot of people like that, because we can't, you just can't trust everybody. But I want to say thank you.
Absolutely.
For doing that.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say that, you got to have the support system though. I mean, if you don't have it, find those people that will do that for you.
Absolutely.
You deserve to know. You deserve to have answers for yourself, for your children. So don't let one person stop you from doing what you know you should be doing and you have every right to do.
Absolutely. Because I imagine without the support, like after the third phone call to Marie Hall,
right,
it would have been so much easier to give up and just be like, you know what, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
But I imagine you had all of those people like, no, let's keep going. Let's keep going. With every person that's saying no, that's another person. She's out there. You're going to find her. You're going to find somebody.
That's right. And God will give you the strength.
Absolutely.
And you ask Him to keep you going no matter what it looks like. Because there's many times I said, God, I'm not meant to find out. You're just going to give me that peace. So apparently I was meant to find out. It's just in His timing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And catch us next week. We plan to be live. It is Suicide Prevention Week, and we'll have Dr. Susan Kersey in to talk about some awareness and things of that nature. So that'll air on September 3rd. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you watching. We'll catch you later. Bye.